Hardly anyone realizes that Britain had a spy with direct access to Adolf Hitler and his inner circle throughout the 1930s. The task of uncovering the story of Baron Bill de Ropp's life was any author's dream. It involved hundreds of hours in archives and extensive overseas travel to find his relatives. To stumble across his key role in the Zinoviev letter scandal of 1924 was an unexpected bonus. That his older brother was a hyperactive and audacious spy for the German Foreign Ministry only adds to the drama of this astonishing case. Readers of Professor Keith Jeffrey's authorized MI6, The History of the Secret Intelligence Service, 1909 to 1949, would have noticed mention of Baron William de Ropp, who provided at least 70% of the political intelligence on Hitler's Germany, yet only appears on 6 of the book's 840 pages. In the 1950s, the Daily Mail had printed 5 articles about him, and a decade later de Ropp was mentioned in 3 books by F.W. Winterbottom, a retired senior MI6 officer. Since then, historians have tended to overlook and even dismiss the case, deterred perhaps by the absence of information about the man. This has not prevented writers using those scant details and de Ropp's brief Wikipedia page, some of it incorrect, to weave conspiracy theories about Bill de Ropp's loyalties and his alleged role in everything from the British royal family's Nazi sympathies, the death of the Duke of Kent, the alleged financing of Hitler by Shell and Schröder's Bank, the flight of Rudolf Hess, and even the occult. The man that emerges from this book was an important and courageous secret agent. It was his bad luck that he operated at a time when the British government had no coherent policy towards Nazi Germany. It was unfortunate that MI6 was not yet skilled at running an agent near the very top of a hostile party and government. The case represented an important step in MI6's evolution from being a service providing low-level tactical information to the strategic organization it has since become. There is the question of how much and how little impact a high-level secret agent can make. The Bill de Ropp story should take its place alongside other major cases as an example of how intelligence can only be as good as the policymakers who use, misuse, or ignore the fruits of their labors. And finally, we learn about the huge psychological, personal, and family pressures of spying in a country where one mistake can mean arrest, torture, and death. Explanatory note. The MI6 archive remains closed, but we know from the lectures given by the late Professor Keith Jeffrey following publication of his History of the Service that the files have been copiously weeded over the decades. Fortunately, Jeffrey devoted some important pages to the Bill de Ropp case. In the world of intelligence, there are always some evidential gaps. Where I've used words such as probable, likely, and doubtless, it is because I'm as sure as I can be, and I have included supporting details in the text or in the notes. Where there was significant doubt about, for example, Bill de Ropp's authorship of an intelligence report, I have preferred to avoid its inclusion altogether, rather than risk building a fragile structure upon sand. I've used MI6 throughout, because it is the designation by which the British Intelligence Service is popularly known. Its real name is the Secret Intelligence Service, abbreviated as SIS. As most of the narrative occurs before 1939, I've usually referred to what we now call the First World War as the Great War, or simply the war. Tim Willasey Wilsey, Somerset, 2025.